Well, and welcome to Beyond the Pendulum. Let me just make sure my audio is working for the internal. Yeah, it is working. You can hear that. This is episode, I believe I put in the show notes. I hope to God I put the right one. 56. 56 episodes deep. Let me hold on. Let me do some self promotion. Because it is a two-man show. Oh, there we go. Copy link. Now spam the show live. And there we go. We do have a lot in we got a lot in many departments of this week or the past few weeks. We had a hiatus. Sorry, I had some things going on in life that I had to just take care of. But let me see. Where should I even start? We can start with the surface stuff and get more into the details. I got some weird stuff out there. So in the representative Luna had gotten elected by I think the GOP. I don't know. There's like these weird councils. I really don't know how it works in Congress. But she got on one of these councils. These new councils were supposed to go declassify documents, MLK, JFK, RFK, and the Epstein list, 9/11, and the UFO stuff. Well, she was getting stonewalled, and this was an official, coming from the top down, an official order coming from the top down, and Luna was supposed to be the face, and today that face did not go through her. The DOJ was supposed to hand over Luna all of that stuff that had happened today. Instead, we got shafted by the deep state, and what they did, well, it goes even more than that. There's more than just saying names here. There's something else going on at play, and it's I already know I already know where it's coming from. But the Epstein list was supposed to come to the DOJ, was supposed to hand it over to Luna. It never happened. It wasn't supposed to go that way. Even Tulsi Gabbard was informed of this, but she is not. She is the director of national intelligence. She is not Department of Justice. Kash Patel is on the shit list right now because I'll get into that later. So what they did is they basically just gave an itemized itinerary of the stuff that was in the stuff that we already know from the other Epstein leaks and the other Epstein files. Nothing juicy. And I can tell you from a well-informed birdie that the only thing, if you've read the Black Book and you've read the other Epstein files that are out there, we already know the client list. Okay, it's as bad as it looks. The only thing we don't know are the 7 pimps besides Ghislaine, and there was videos and blah 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 blah. There's a lot of stories out there. It's hard to put 2 decades worth of shit into a file where anybody can reasonably digest it, because there's even a blackmail plot where he was trying to blackmail not Steve Jobs, head of Microsoft, the lizard boy. What's his name?
Oh man, not Gates.
Yeah, Bill Gates. Yeah, he was trying to blackmail Bill Gates because he had an affair outside of his wedlock with a Russian chess player or pianist. And yeah, there was all sorts of crazy shit that was going on with Epstein. So,
Yeah, that's kind of where his marriage started. You could see it starting to fall apart there because that the gal wasn't dumb. Well, wait a minute, you're on Epstein's list. What the fuck's going on?
yeah, then I don't think that Bill Gates was into little kids. I do think he had affairs going on, and
Yeah.
His wife was
Well,
just
that's
not.
the yeah, that's the thing about this client list. It's like, okay, you have all these people on the list. That's not necessarily saying they were doing anything
But
illicit. Now the whole thing might, be, counter to, some, government, you're taking, bribes or gifts or, some problem there. But, now if they're engaged in, trafficking or some kind of illicit activity, well, that's different. But if you're just going to an island, a rich sex island, I mean, that's
bro,
just, in today's world, that I don't know, is that really that big a deal? It's just like,
I don't know. The thing is that Trump. The reason these social media influencers got the list first, and they're all posting the same shit today. A couple of them were posting the same message. Donald Trump met his wife because of Jeffrey Epstein. He hooked them up.
yeah, she was part of that. Not well, Maxwell's tie into the European
Modeling service.
side of the
Mm-hmm.
whole operations. Yeah, it's just that's where she fits in. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think that Donald J. Trump is trying to avoid this, like the redheaded stepsister. I don't think, honestly, like, I'm really neutral when it comes to everything. I personally don't think that Trump is involved in any of the weird hanky panky, but I do know that there has been another president that was involved with the hanky panky.
That's a
With
lie. I did not touch that guy.
exactly, yeah, that guy, yeah. Yeah, Clinton. Yeah, he was doing the hanky panky with Epstein, not with Epstein, but with the girl tied to Epstein. So I'm pretty sure there are other intelligence agencies around the world that don't want this list to come out. I believe there's a Saudi prince that's involved. The royal family is involved. So we have intelligence agencies around the world that doesn't want this out. And now Kash Patel, the new FBI director, has a shit fit on his hand because guess what? The New York office of the FBI is not handing over the list that we already know is there. We already know who's on it, okay? It's not. It's already been. It's like I said. If you read the black book, you got it. All right, but the the point is that nothing is happening the way it's supposed to. The deep state still has control. If you don't know who the deep state is, they're not the people that you are, and they're not in the government. A lot of them are not in the government, but they're on the but people in the government are on the payroll. Okay, they're not a big Houdini in the like. If you want to find out who the deep state is, you just follow the money. You think USA was part of the deep state? No, they're a puppet. They're a part of the puppetry of the deep state. But if you really want to find out who the deep state is, you're not going to find you're not going to find all of them inside of government office. In fact, a lot of them are not there. There are, I should say, wealthy people you don't know the names of. They're calling the shots at everywhere. I mean, the best way I could tell you about this, the way that it works is when you look at lobbyists and special interest groups and who's financing them and their investors, you start looking up then you'll find out who these people are. Okay? And these are not names you've ever heard of. So we got so the FBI. This is like another shit show. And then they labeled today's rollout as phase one. Like we're two like what? We're like what is it? The president raped the little kid? Yeah, that's what happened. That's how bad it is. Prince Andrew, from the royal family, raped the kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that bad. We have what was his name? The other president, Obama, was at the island too, but he never did anything.
Yeah, the Supreme Court Justice, was it Roberts? I think was there.
Who wasn't there?
Oh man. Oh no, it
And
was Israeli
oh,
Prime Minister
actually,
Barak.
believe it or not, Epstein Island was not the only place he was doing it. He had a ranch in New Mexico. He was doing it there too.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he had
that was
properties
going to
in
be like
Florida.
his Epstein cloning facility or whatever he was trying to build there. But the other part is, this island, the Epstein Island is Little St. James, right? Now they've already been building for like a decade or more an even bigger sex island called uh, Big St. James, and that's where everything's just shifted. We're like still talking about this place, but dude, it's like they shifted operations. They already got it going, and I mean, you're not going to stop them from doing what they're doing. It's just the Virgin Island, police are brought off. Uh, that's it. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
yeah, it's just amazing that as all that scrutiny was going on about this, they were just building something even bigger. That's what I mean. You just never, people with money, you can't stop them. They're going to do what they're going to do. It's just,
and they're outside of U.S. jurisdiction. Those are that's the I believe that is the even I think that's no man's land actually. The islands, the privately purchased ones. I don't believe that they're a part of any country. I don't believe.
that seems, yeah. Well, I thought they were U.S. Virgin Islands. Now they may be, like privately owned, but you have to be under some government. I mean,
It's
it's not like the
possible.
government to let anything go.
Well, there are small lands. There's small masses of land all over the Pacific, Atlantic, and the Indian Ocean. Like no, I was gonna say North Senegal, but North Senegal Island is no man's land. It's technically India, but it's not. The ones where the people living there, they're still living like cavemen,
Oh, yeah.
Singhalese, still living like they were like cavemen, and they have no outside contact. But I'm saying that there are places in really remote parts of the world. They're not. I just thought Epstein Island was one of them. It probably might be wrong, but anyway, he's probably not under U.S. Virgin law, so it's what he was doing might have not technically been illegal.
Yeah,
Technically,
yeah, and even if it is, they've got people bought off, man.
he's
there's
dead.
a
He's
lock
dead,
on
and he's
the.
dead too. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's become kind of obvious, because people start digging into that other island, and it's locked down, man. You don't get to hear anything about that. We can like speculate on Epstein shit, all day long, but what's really going on at the other new place, you don't get to talk about. You don't hear about it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, or there's other things in that area that. Well, I don't want to get into that'll be another show. I was going to go more towards Cuba. There are some things of interest. But yeah, what a trip. We got all pumped up for like nothing. It was another it was another charade, and this government's talking about transparency. How can you have
It,
transparency if you have people who shouldn't even be in the government are part of the. Oh, I don't think these people understand who they're dealing with. You just go with mafia mentality, like yeah,
well, it's you got the two-party circus show going on. The other guy's in power. You point the finger at him, and you play the game back and forth. And if you're on the inside of that game, hey, it's a great deal. Because you know how it's played. You're going to get paid as you go along, and it's just a bunch of nonsense.
yep,
They get away with it because people are so gullible. They put up with this crap. They never get excited about, you know, well, one more time, yeah, it's been 60 years and you're still too stupid to know what happened with JFK. It's just that's the
I'm
mentality. It's
now now I'm just like, if they can't even do the Epstein list right, now I'm very, very hesitant about the whole JFK thing and the UAP declassification. It's like, it was a good idea. It was a great thing, but you know what? Like, in the it's hard to unline those pockets of the deep state. And, they'll always have somebody flipping teams, and they'll never squeal about it. But if you check their bank account, well, that's why they're doing what they're doing. Um, yep. So c'est la vie. Guess we're not going to have disclosure that way with the UAP declassification office, or the declassification office with Representative Luna. So I did the JFK files. We're not going to get those.
yeah. So hey, they're just about done, man. They got this thing, just whitewashed and swept under the rug and all the
Bro,
rest
it's
of it.
bro, it's not going to be out till like March something. If you know what we're gonna get like a bunch of white people with black marks all over it. We already know there was two shooters. That's probably in the mob. We know the mafia was involved.
Yeah.
So obviously
You
it's over
know,
an agenda or money, something.
yeah, I mean, it kind of points to being an inside job. It's CIA. Well, then and who had the most to
I heard
benefit
it.
from the whole thing
I
was
actually heard.
LBJ. So I mean,
That's what I heard. That's what I keep on hearing is LBJ ordered the hit.
yeah, it's just it was an inside Texas job. Happened in Texas, and then all of a sudden the Bushes, come to power, and the whole thing. I mean, it's just like, give me a break.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard LBJ ordered the hit. I've heard that. So actually, that the only reason Kennedy put LBJ in the office is because he needed the votes. He didn't like him. They were rivals. They were
That's
running against
true.
each other at first. And LBJ was.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he was shady ever since he burned down that courthouse and won that Senate race. That was back in the 50s. When they were investigating him, for cheating in that election, he just burned down the courthouse where they had all the ballots. So, took care of that problem.
What courthouse?
I think it was man, what county was that? It was down south of here. Oh man, I want to say De Zavala, or I think it was along the border. But it just showed the kind of connections he had, and even back then when he was just getting started, he was shady from the start. That's all I say. And if you knew anything about Texas politics, LBJ was shady from the start.
Yeah.
Unless you just love the guy and love all the rest of them, that bullshit. But as far as a politician,
This piece of crap.
and then his wife too, Lady Bird. There was people in Austin had tried to get a television's like station license for years, never could get it done. Put their application in, always get blocked. But the moment LBJ got in, Ladybird puts in for that, and it just miraculously, gets the permit, and then, all of a sudden has the richest television station in fucking Austin. I mean, it's just a miracle how this happens. It's LBJ for you, and that was before the presidency. So you don't hear those little tidbits. You won't hear those tidbits on the news.
Oh yeah. You won't. You won't. You won't. Oh man. Well,
Let's see here.
I really gave this administration a chance, just like I gave the Biden administration a chance. But like, I was severely like, I had like little panda sad face going on. I was like, really, really, you're not gonna tell us the little sex list? You're not gonna tell us who was on there? Little Doody Doos and the Rudy Roos. And now we got the FBI fighting with the DOJ. They're not giving the information. Like, for real. And Cash Patel, like, said he wasn't part of the... Now, and the thing is, Michael Schellenberger, 2 days ago, said there was an FBI whistleblower that was saying that they were destroying the evidence from the FBI office. Cash didn't investigate this.
Well, see, he's been there a week.
And this and
Yeah,
this
he's off to a
will,
rough start.
yeah. I could just imagine the president right now because he's probably not saying shit to Cash because he doesn't want it solved either. Like, I'm pretty sure he's innocent in a lot of it, but I'm just saying that, like, he doesn't want his name being affiliated with any sex stuff after the last fiasco, right? With that one girl with the Stormy Daniels.
Yeah, no, that's kind of an albatross on his neck now because, with those convictions, then, him being on that list, I mean, would that really be that shocking now? I mean, it's just like, come on. Plus, he was a Fed snitch on the whole Epstein operation going way back. When they started putting the heat on him and things that might be going on, he flipped way, way back. That's
Oh, I
why
didn't.
Epstein always said that Trump does the worst things to his best friends. He's a flaming
Uh,
narcissist. If you know anything about flaming narcissists, you know what they do.
oh, so he was an informant for.
On the whole
Wow.
thing, participating, as they put the heat on him. Now that goes way back to like the first investigations. I couldn't tell you when that is. Probably in the mid or late '90s or earlier. But and then his first, let's see, what was it? Ivanka, the other wife, is actually in on the whole thing from the female side. They've got
Uh,
conversations of her. They're all in on it. They got nothing to do, man. They're fucking millionaires, rich, had everything they've ever anything weird they've ever wanted. They've already had, and they got time on their hands. They're bored.
wow, I wish I was that rich. Not going to like all doing all that, but I wish I was so rich I was bored.
so, so bored you start thinking about diddling little kids. Is that
No,
what?
no,
Is
no, I
that,
didn't mean like that. I just mean I was just
you
so
don't
rich
get
I'd be
that bored.
bored. No, not that bored, but I just wish I was bored.
Dang, man, what's the matter with these people?
I don't know. Get into sex
It's just like
scandals.
you still have to have no honor or integrity or ethics or any kind of morals, to actually go through it. You just say, oh, it's just, hey, I do it because I can do it. I mean, that's just, yeah, I mean, really are a piece of shit.
Well, I mean, look at the royal family. They're completely dysfunctional.
Yeah,
Hi. Go
yeah,
see
there's just
mama.
nothing.
I got to do this, baby. Sorry, my kid came in.
Yeah, because some of these poor kids, spoiled right roles they got now, whether they do a good job or they don't, doesn't really matter. They're going to get cover up in the press and get to do whatever and get their millions of stipends, whether they fuck up or not. So stop the show.
Oh, hold on a second. He's trying to show me something. Nagora, I got it. Like, I'm not done. Sorry, my 2-year-old. He comes in and tells me what to do. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yeah.
you're all right.
Yeah, I probably got another 10 minutes. I don't know. When he was little, it was hard, and now that he's older, it's harder. I can't leave him alone for more than 10 minutes. Ay, ay.
This rascal.
Yeah. What else do we have? So we'll probably go another 10 minutes, and then I gotta go tell him what to do. So this is weird. Okay, so Drones are still being seen all over the East Coast. We got that. Have you heard about this Chris Bledsoe guy? Chris Bledsoe?
Uh, no, it doesn't really ring a bell.
So this guy about
Easter.
yeah, so this is really weird. So this guy kind of has a story not like mine but a similar where he was abducted by aliens and his kid saw it, and ever since then his property is like a Skinwalker Ranch, okay, where you don't know if the behavior is paranormal or UFO, and this guy is able to summon UFOs on command. It's well documented. This guy is in the inner circle. Intelligence agencies have investigated him. NASA, like it's well documented. There are intelligence agencies still going to his property, figuring out what's going on and how is this. But the thing that is really strange about all of this, all right, where you don't know if it's paranormal or if it's UFO, which it probably is a mix of both. There was a lady that contacted him, known by the Egyptian name Hathor, who is also known in the modern Catholic religion as Lady Fatima. You heard of that?
Yeah, Fatima, but not well. It was Fatima was the place where it was seen, but it was the
That's what
Marian apparitions. Yeah.
supposedly, but this entity is claiming that was her, and she has, according to Chris, and this is, I guess, where others that have seen her too on the property besides him. There's just some stuff that he has relayed that is super bizarre, and it kind of eerily reminds me of the stuff that had happened to me 20 years ago. And I don't want to get a lot into it, but I really do think that he is in contact with some sort of supernatural being. I it knew too much, or what he had relayed too much, because keep in mind, this guy doesn't actually think that it is what it is. He is actually super Christian and believes that he's talking to angels. He believes that the UFOs are angels. He thinks that they're all, stuff. So he has a different interpretation of the phenomenon that he's seeing. But the lady had appeared to him about 2 or 3 years ago, or a year ago, and told them that when this one star, Rigel or something like that, is above the nose of the Sphinx, which will happen on Easter 2026. She said that mankind will be in a new age of knowing or something like that. Chris interpreted that as Jesus coming back. I'm like, okay, well, Chris has got this religious aspect of it. Okay. But if you look into the Fatima event, and she was elaborating on it, I guess if you look into some of the witnesses, they did say that they saw metal discs in the sky, which is
Oh,
kind of, yeah,
at the
yeah,
original event.
yes, at the original event, yes, yes,
Well,
and
that and the sun seemed to be moving. You know the what I've seen is they called it the miracle of the sun,
yes,
and I think what they did is turn a UFO event into uh, a Marian apparition and this other. I struggle with that one. I really don't know. I wonder
There's
what the kids actually saw and what was really going on there. But it's
I,
just at the big event though, there was some weird stuff going on. I mean, and there were
if you
70,000 people there. So
if you want me to get into the really really weird part of it, I can delve into it, but this is not common knowledge. So if you were a supernatural being that existed fourth dimensionally outside of time and space, right? And you've always existed, but you had to interact with denser three-dimensional beings, right? You would actually have to create some sort of vessel to get from to and fro. And I've heard this several times, through people in really weird places, Jack Filet, and he's interested in the more of the occult connection or and the paranormal connection to the whole UFO connection. If you had to travel, because interdimensionally, you might have to create physical objects that would defy the law of physics because they're not they are defying physics because they're not really part of this reality, if I should say. But you develop a vessel so that you can travel from outside of this dimension back into this dimension. And I have heard this from even Tucker Carlson was saying the same thing, is that these we might be looking at the old stories, and the old stories might actually be real, but we just don't understand it in a technological way. Because I've heard over and over and over again is that sometimes when we get these crashes, they're ordinary materials, just structured perfectly. You know, I'm not saying
what
that
kind of materials?
like the in some of the material that's been taken back from some of these crashes, they're ordinary materials. Just the atomic structure is perfect,
Hmm.
like an art's parts.
Yeah, some kind of heat treating, some kind of treatment.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not saying that that's all UFOs, but I'm saying that there's a there's
Well,
you should.
here's the thing. I think people seem to have a misconception like there's, no, these UFOs are going to have. Now, I think if they're part of this reality, they're going to be made of typical materials because that's what you have. There are no exotic
Yeah,
materials, exotic elements. That's all nonsense. That doesn't exist.
yeah.
I mean, there
Should,
might be other, you know, numbered elements that we will find, but this idea that they're going to have some, now they might have some tech or something. The propulsion, is the key to the whole thing. So the propulsion is what you really want. But
well,
the materials have to be the same. I mean, you're in the same universe as everything else. So
yeah. I might have messed that part up verbally, but the materials that they have are ordinary stuff. It's just the structures are perfect.
hmm. Yeah.
Like if Lady Fatima is that's according to Chris Bledsoe, like why they're interested is Lady Fatima is appearing to a guy,
Hmm.
and he even said the Vatican is interested in this.
Well, they would be. Yeah, they like to. They all have a whole center up there in Canada. For that event. They like to control that whole narrative. You know, put it that way.
Well, believe it or not, like I started listening to Diana Polska and these saints who see angels and stuff, and they're not. The church has bastardized their accounts, and a lot of times they're seeing orbs and weird lights and stuff like that. Like once you start hearing about the real about what had happened to these people who are sanctified, you start wondering: are they having paranormal events? Or are they seeing aliens? It's that what the fuck actually happened? Especially with the whole Joan of Arc thing. You
Well,
know,
yeah, and then there's this fakery that goes on too. There's a whole industry in the Catholic world, of people that are sick or of chasing these apparitions and whatever they are around the world. All of a sudden there's some new apparition, in the Ukraine. Well, they won't care if it's a war zone, man. These people fly there and roll their wheelchairs, and they don't give a shit. They're desperate.
Oh, just like the French well that's supposed to heal everybody. That was another one of those.
Yeah, it's become a money making industry, for the church.
Well,
Yeah, I
I,
mean,
I'll be
well, there was some.
interested.
There's one called Medjugorje. That's one that's kind of been debunked here, and it's a fairly recent one. But and the people in the town, all but admitted that it's fake, but the church insists. It got so huge that now the church is like, well, that they meant well, and they're just kind of let the thing keep going because they're making money. This little town makes money, the church makes money, and so everything's okay, even though it's complete, horseshit. But that's what you have to, that's what you have to plow through and worry about when this kind of stuff gets started, because it just expands. It's like saints, the expansion of saints, and then the rules change, of course. For like John Paul. They made a saint out of him. You're supposed to be like 75. You have to wait 75 years and then confirm two or three miracles. There's a whole process to it. And they just kind of chunked all that in the garbage can. And after, I don't know, 10 or 15 years, said, you know what? You're a saint.
Yeah.
You just make it up as you go. That's my problem with Catholics and a lot of all of it, really.
Well, we'll see next Easter though.
Yeah. Well, now, hey, if it is a Fatima thing, now that whole the final event, that Miracle of the Sun event, that was, I believe, the only time that there was that was predicted like months in advance. That on this day that she was going to reappear, there was going to be this apparition. So it's the only time that I know of that there was ever a day predicted when an event like that would happen, a UFO slash paranormal event.
And it happened.
And yeah, that's what's weird about it. It's like, and they pull it off.
And it's happening again. Yeah, apparently she's apparently it's a deity named Hathor, which is actually quite a significant
Yeah,
deity in the Egyptian thing. It's Ra's daughter.
I thought there was Hathor was a place too.
Believe so.
Yeah.
And it's very weird. This
Well,
this obscure name is popping up. 100 years later. Crazy. Well, I mean, not as crazy
and
as
it
the
was
world is.
that was tied to Russia and the error of her ways. This is all about the time, of communism, of the turmoil in communism,
Yeah, the
towards and
czars, the
then
czars, the czars were taking over. Yeah.
yeah, so that whole event was tied to a problem at the time, politics, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's strange. I mean, I did it. That's one of I'm skeptical about a lot of things, but that one's so strange and so well documented that, it's hard to deny anything.
Yeah. Ah, crap. I guess I gotta end the show here.
All right. In
Yeah,
the show.
yeah, because my son's knocking at the door again. Um, I guess we'll do this on the 13th, and we'll go from there.